רוbinsson, hello. Thank you for granting us this interview.
No problem. It's an honor to be here.
So it's basically your first time in Israel since October 7th, right?
It is.
Why was it important for you to come here?
It was important for me to come here to show solidarity with the Jewish people. I understand who you're surrounded by. I understand the enemy you face. I think 24 hours after the attack on October 7th, I made a video to tell people that Hamas are ISIS. There's no mistake here, don't confuse it. It's the same ideology, it's the same enemy. So it was important for me to come here. Yesterday I went to the scene of the Nova Festival. I went to the kibbutz, I met the father, Thomas Hand, of Emily, who was kidnapped. And I think it's important that the British audience, the general public, understand what happened here on October 7th and understand what sort of country this is. I come here in 2015 for my first time. I went to a Fatah-controlled refugee camp in Bethlehem. I risked my life, to be honest. I paid young Arab Muslims to take me there. And as I'm walking through the refugee camp, I kept asking him, who's oppressing you? I was expecting him to say Israel. And he said the Palestinian Authority. And I said, what do you mean? And this is the first time I found out about pay for slay. And he explained to me, you see this lady, because on the sides of the houses are all the, what he called martyrs, which is the terrorists. He said, no, if they just go kill an Israeli, then they get money for the rest of their life. Now, for me, that really shocked me. So this man was a fourth-generation Muslim refugee, and he told me, never fund Free Palestine, because none of the money comes to us. He said, we have had twice as much money as Germany after the World War to rebuild. Yeah? We all still live like this. My children will be fifth generation, theirs will be sixth generation. We are kept like this. I then went home and looked into Palestinian Authority, and I saw that we fund them. So the British taxpayers fund them. And then to be here now as a British person with our government, who are supposed to be representative of us, who have just recognised the Palestinian state. They've just rewarded October 7th terrorists, jihadists. They've recognised and give them a state whilst they're still running a campaign of pay to slay.
Yeah, so I wanna talk to you about that specifically, because not only the pay for slay of the Palestinian Authority, you've seen with your own eyes what the atrocities that Hamas has done to Israel. And not so long after October 7th, country after country in Europe starting to give this reward to the Palestinians. How do you explain that?
I watched the video yesterday for the first time.
The uncensored video?
The uncensored video. And it took 50 years for the Holocaust to be denied. It took a day for October 7th to be denied. So the propaganda war, which is being waged against Israel and against Jews, Qatari funded, Iranian funded. We literally have proxy armies in every Western nation. I don't know if you're aware, our last election was all about Gaza. And 5 independent MPs, Muslim MPs, who are pro-Hamas were elected. Those MPs have just led the campaign to have Israeli Jews banned from coming to a football match in the UK. Talk about apartheid.
And I think we saw the biggest ever march against immigrants, against radical Islam. Do you think England is in a way waking up to the situation?
Yeah, on the 13th of September, you saw the silent majority refusing to be silent any longer. Now, the vocal minority, which have been allowed to celebrate and been pumped by the media because they all agree with them, the BBC and our left-wing politicians, they have pumped this pro-Palestinian voice, and they've made out that the British audience are pro-Palestinian when they're not. If it was put to a mandate and it was put to a public vote on whether the British public wish to recognise the state of Palestine, they would fail instantly. But now Labour have realised they want to win back those votes, so what are they going to do? Are they going to care about the 300,000 Jews in Britain, or are they going to try and appease the 5 million radical pro-Palestinian Hamas supporting?
You think that is the reason? The fact that the fear from Muslims, is it anti-Semitism? Is it ignorance? Because we're seeing the way the BBC is covering the conflict, not just now, for so many years, and it's so distorted. How do you explain it?
I'd explain it that most of the BBC journalists, as most of those coming out of academia, have gone through an education system where it's celebrated to be anti-Israeli and anti-Jew. What they've managed to do is make us feel isolated and alone. We're not alone, we're the mainstream. We are the mainstream. The mainstream don't hate Jews. The mainstream are not against Israel. If there was no radical Islamic community in Britain, they would not have just recognised the state of Palestine. The same with France. If they didn't have 11% Muslim population that were out of control, that were creating chaos, that were creating carnage across the country, they wouldn't have done the same.
How can you convince the silenced majority, most of the people who get their information from the mainstream media, doesn't know anything about Israel, and in a way shaping their opinion just by looking on CNN or BBC.
Well, they don't get it from the mainstream media anymore. X is the platform for the mainstream media. X is the main source. I'm so grateful to Elon Musk to give me back my voice. We're told in Britain this is an apartheid state. Yeah, we're told in Britain that blacks are treated unfairly here. I know it's all lies because I've come here. I've researched it. I know these lies. So I'm a journalist. The BBC, the government, broadcasters, no one's watching them anymore. They're irrelevant.
Last question I would like to ask you. After seeing the assassination of Charlie Kirk in America, we were talking about free speech. You as a public figure, your family, yourself, how do you feel these days?
I've been under threat for a long time. I think if we listen to what Charlie Kirk says, courage is about being scared but still doing the right thing anyway. So I know I'm in danger. I've had 12 government Osman warnings for threats to my life. That's what his assassination, and certainly Hamas, the reason they live streamed the attacks against the Jewish population is because they wish to instill fear in the heart of every person. I don't want to let them win. And just to finish on an optimistic line is that Britain is brewing for revolution. I'm telling you, I've got my finger on the pulse. Those millions you saw on the September 13th, wait till our next event. The public will be silent no more, not on these issues. The dam has burst. The dam has burst. People know the mainstream media are lying. They do not trust them. I'm grateful that I have a trust of the public for my journalism. But people need to understand who Hamas are. They need to understand what is just over the fence at the Gaza Strip, that there's an army waiting for the total destruction, rape and obliteration of this entire state. And there's 55 Islamic nations. Why can't the Jews have one? Especially when it's on their biblical land.
Tommy Robinson, thank you for your brave and important work that you're doing, and thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you very much.